everyone. This is Mr. S, and today we're on lesson 1.2, and we're trying to figure out why the population of the buffaloes in the Serengeti is changing so much. So if you remember last lesson, we had the student activity sheet out, so please take that out in your binder. And in the last lesson, you would have thought about the background knowledge and reflected and made some estimates on why this graph was going up so much. So why were the populations of buffaloes increasing so much? And then you would have drawn an initial model of why you think that happens, and then brainstorm some of the questions on our driving questions board, which we can look at in class. Today we've made it all the way to number 7, and what I want you to do is make at least 3 observations about what do you think is happening with the in the video that we're watching. So what do you notice? What are some of your takeaways? What kind of animals are you seeing? Are there a lot of grass? Are there trees? Are there monkeys? Things like that. What does the environment look like? Who is eating who? So as you watch some video, make at least 3 observations here, and then we'll continue from there. So feel free to rewind and watch that video clip again if you want to make some more observations or if it went by a little quick for you. But now what we're going to do is look at Google Map images and camera trap data. And you're going to be answering questions 8 through 14 on your student activity sheets as we go along here. So there's, on Google Maps, there's some amazing aerial photographies of herds of buffalo, which I'll give you the coordinates for. And I just want you to kind of explore and think about what you can see and what you can learn about the environment from looking at the Google Map images. So go to Google Maps and type in Serengeti and then change it to satellite view. I'm in Serengeti and I clicked on the layers right here, and you can choose some different ones, and you can either choose the map. I like to see the satellite, and so this is the national park, and I want you to just go around and look around in this environment and see, what can you learn about the climate? What do you think? What do you think about when you're looking at the boundaries of the Serengeti? Does that affect the animals? Do you think these boundaries? And what can you figure out about what kind of animals live there based on the camera trap data? So the camera trap data is the other part of this. So you're looking at that map and you're also looking at this. Okay? So basically what they do is they put cameras all over the park, and anytime an animal moves, anything moves, it'll just take a picture. Okay, so it's basically random of what animals come by certain areas. And so these are the total number of animals that were captured by those cameras. Okay, so just kind of take a look at this and think about what you can come up with from looking at all this. And then from this, we're going to reflect on these questions, 8 through 14. Okay, based on how many animals you're seeing from the cameras and kind of what you noticed looking at the Google Maps data. Okay, so then you'll answer 8 through 14. You can work with your classmates around you, and remember to ask 3 people, your classmates, for tips and support before you ask me too. And then we'll move on to investigation 2. All right, good luck. All right, so we have made it to the end of lesson 1, and we are going to do investigation 2, so the second part of this lesson, and then we're going to have our first mastery check. So for investigation 2, all you need to do is read each one of these paragraphs and write a one sentence to summarize each paragraph. Okay? So I can work with some of you more closely to help summarize each of these, but basically you're going to read the paragraph, and in this margin you're going to write the summary of it. And you can highlight it as well as you go. That's a good strategy for reading comprehension. And then, based on what you read, you're going to draw some arrows on here to show the migrations of the wildebeest. And you're going to, in your own words, describe the landscape of the Serengeti. Nothing too technical, just describe what you've learned thus far. Then, once you've finished that, you're to the mastery check. And in this class, mastery checks are when you demonstrate everything that you have learned to show that you've mastered what we've learned so far. And I will need to grade this and give you credit for it before you move on. So this is basically pass-fail. You just have to, and you can revise it until it's good and you show me that you've learned from this lesson, and then you can move on to lesson 2. So I will grade this before you move on, and basically using this paragraph and what you've summarized, as well as the camera trap information and the video, you're going to just write a conclusion about biodiversity, so the amount of different organisms or animals, and the concentration of different species. And you need to cite at least 2 data points, so 2 actual things that you've learned in the class to justify your conclusion. So you're going to say, in this part of the class it said this, and this is why it shows how diverse it is, and then we also read this, and this shows why it's so diverse. So if you cite at least 2 data points that we've learned from the class, and you've used complete sentences and described it in detail, you will have mastered this section, and I'll give you some feedback. And then the only other thing is to update your notes. In your binder, you should have this in the front of your binder, the incremental modeling tracker. And so this is lesson 1, and we're trying to figure out why the buffalo population has increased so much. And you're going to write what we'd figured out this lesson, okay? And then how can we continue, based on our progress, how can we add to or revise our model? So you're going to do this for every lesson, and I'll remind you, but in the front of your binder, so that at the very end of the lesson, you'll be able to use this as a resource to put it all together and summarize the whole unit for the buffalo. So it's really important that you keep track of each lesson and record it here. All right, good luck.